As I seem to mention in every single freaking video, it is insane to me how hot the offseason has been in the game of baseball. And that, the fact of the matter is, it is insane that every step of the way, every step of the way, um, every step of the way, it seems like we get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more closer to the idea that the baseball off season is showing exactly why it is 100 times better, or maybe not 100 times better, but why it is making up for what happened last off season and doing it in a big way by having by having this season run the way it is. I don't know why they have me turned on as the Angels general manager. But um but in the time between our last video and this video, the Giants swooped in and heated up the the spotlight a little bit more, or heated the stove to us very much a sizzling point where they opened up the purse strings and secured their superstar, that being Carlos Correa, giving Carlos Correa 13 years at $350 million. Carlos Correa is now among the top five highest paid players in baseball and gets the contract that everyone else thought he was going to get last off season. But in my opinion, due to the circumstances of the lockout, that contract never came for Correa like it was going to, or like a lot of people thought it was going to. But now Correa is holding himself as one of the highest paid players in baseball and also going to be a member of the San Francisco Giants for the long term. I mean, that's kind of an understatement as far as that's concerned. Of course, he's going to be a Giant for the long term. He's not just going to be a Giant for the long term, but it's more than likely he's going to be a Giant for the remainder of his career. More than likely. But with that being said, I think that also with the addition of Ross Stripling, apparently, according to JP Morosi, the Giants have taken themselves out of the Rodon run, which I don't know how you could justify taking yourself out of the run for Carlos Rodon by securing Ross Stripling. But I guess maybe the money that they spent on Carlos Correa, that they're not made of money and they don't want to go too far above the expectations, so they chose Correa over Rodon, which you would think would open the door for the Yankees, but just to put out how committed the Giants are to Carlos Correa, there is no opt out in the 13 years. There is no opt out. There is no there is a full no trade clause with no opt out. So the Giants are fully committed to Carlos Correa and him becoming a Giant for what would be, in my opinion, a Hall of Fame career and the remainder of that Hall of Fame career for Mr. Correa, or what could be a Hall of Fame career and the remainder of that for Mr. Correa, as the Giants look to continue to compete in what has been a very busy NL West. But now what would it take for the Giants and the Padres to move ahead of the Dodgers as the top team in the National League? In my opinion, that's the question because, to my knowledge, the only thing the Dodgers have done is lose players and add back Clayton Kershaw. So now the question is, where do the Giants stand against their rivals in the National League West? That's a question for you, and only time will tell, in my opinion. But also, where does that leave Dansby Swanson? As Dansby Swanson is the only remaining shortstop left on free agency from the top four shortstops that started the free agent market and were the talk of the town of the baseball offseason. Since the start of the baseball offseason, they have been the talk of the town. So it's a question of where does that leave Dansby Swanson? And again, according to JP Morosi, it seems like Dansby will get over $200 million. But in my opinion, I know a couple weeks ago I said I thought that Xander Bogaerts would be the one that would be a step below and fall to a lower market team, not expecting Dansby Swanson to be the one that ends up falling to a lower market team. But I still say I think that if Dansby Swanson was going to re-sign with the Braves, he would have re-signed with the Braves already. So I do believe that if the Braves keep going the way they're going, two off seasons ago, the 2021 off season, it was losing Freddie Freeman, the franchise, to the Dodgers, and now it will be losing Dansby Swanson to a team as well. Now there is talk that the Dodgers could be in on Dansby Swanson. There is talk that the Red Sox could look to replace Bogarts with Swanson. There is talk that the Cubs, the Twins, the Cardinals, a lot of teams. There are no shortage of teams interested in Dansby Swanson and bringing him in. But the question is, will his market develop? I know that Dansby was off getting married and had more interesting stuff to be doing and more important stuff to be doing. But now with his wedding aside, or with his wedding in the rear view, I know his wife, who is a soccer player, plays for the team based in Illinois. So it is a possibility that Dansby could have, or the Cubs could have an in on Dansby because of his wife. That they may want to, stick together or be close. So there is a possibility there. But the fact of the matter is, there is no clear cut person or clear cut team jumping ahead of the Dansby Swanson sweepstakes. The one thing I can say is that, in my opinion, I think that if the Twins are serious about striking while the iron is hot, if the Twins are serious about the money that they were going to spend on Correa, where they apparently were willing to go above $200 million for Carlos Correa, which says something for an organization that normally does not spend. That if they were going to go that much for Correa, then you got to figure that they'd be willing to do the same for Dansby Swanson. But the question is, would that be enough to bring Swanson to Minnesota? And in my opinion, the Twins are in desperate need for a superstar, and the AL Central is ripe for the picking. So there's no reason why the Twins can't jump in and go for a superstar. But that is something that we will be seeing develop over the next couple of weeks. Speaking of something that I didn't realize, apparently after the 2023 season, in next year's off season, Severino's in his contract year, and Garrett Cole has an opt out from his contract with the Yankees that he signed a few years ago. So it is possible that what was the Yankees' worst nightmare this offseason, losing Aaron Judge, next year the Yankees could have a problem with a big problem with the starting rotation, as Nestor Cortez is the only starter that the Yankees have signed long term, and that is Nestor is under team control until 2026. So now the question is, what do the Yankees do, and how desperate are they now to sign somebody like Rodon for the long term? The problem, though, is with Carlos Rodon that the financial gap between Rodon and the Yankees seems to be getting more sizable by the day, as Rodon and the Yankees are not close when it comes to contract talks. Rodon expected that once the Rodon wants Rodon believes that he's a step below what Verlander and DeGrom got, and Verlander only got 86 million over 2 years. I mean, I know that's not, that's a sizable amount for a short contract, but comparing him to DeGrom, I do think Rodon is a step below DeGrom and Verlander. So, financial wise, it makes sense, but I don't know if it makes sense as the teams start dropping out of the sweepstakes for Rodon to raise your price further and not maybe come to a compromise with the Yankees to meet somewhere in the middle. Because it does seem like if there's any team that's going to get Rodon, it will be the Yankees. But will it be a compromise, or will it be where the Yankees are desperate enough to pay Rodon what he wants? As it does seem like the slight hesitation from the Yankees does have to do with the qualifying offer, aka the draft pick compensation that is attached to Rodon. So will the if the Yankees falter with Rodon, there is a big free agent market expected for starting pitching in 2024. But my question is, if if the alarm bells are not ringing in 2023 for the rotation with the Yankees, they will be ringing in 2024, and the Yankees may not have the leeway that they had this year, next year. So they may have to make something happen this year if they don't go for Rodon. With that being said, let's take a look at the top 50 free agents to see if there is somebody that the Yankees could go for outside of Carlos Rodon. I'm seeing Michael Wacha, which really doesn't fit the superstar type, or even somebody to fit replacing Jameson Taillon. Nate Eovaldi also has draft compensation attached to him. Honestly, unless the Yankees want to look to the trade market, they don't really have an option outside of Carlos Rodon. And I think that if they do look for the trade market, it would need to be somebody that they would have under team control for a similar length of time that they have Nestor Cortez. Because if they are as sizable apart, financially as it says, it could be a problem for the Yankees going into 2023 if they don't have Rodon alongside Nestor Cortez, Garrett Cole, and Severino. It could be a big problem for the Yankees as Toronto keeps getting better. Baltimore is on the uproar. Tampa Bay is always there. The only team that the Yankees don't have to worry about is Boston. So it is a question of, will the Yankees just take 2023 and reassess and then make a big splash in 2024? But also they have Yankee fans who are fickle, and even though the Yankees re-signed Judge, they don't want the Yankees sitting on their hands and using draft pick compensation as a reason why they didn't secure Carlos Rodon. Because I think some Yankee fans believe that Hal Steinbrenner is just afraid of spending. But with all that out of the way, let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on this content. And if you're enjoying it, you can let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, or dropping a comment, or doing all three, because any and all interactions with these videos are very much appreciated. But let me know what you think. 13 years, $350 million for Carlos Correa, and how desperate in your mind are the Yankees for Carlos Rodon to add him to the starting rotation, especially bearing in mind that Garrett Cole could opt out after next season and Severino's a free agent. How desperate are the Yankees to sign somebody long term to give some stability back to that rotation? Let me know down in the comment section below. But if you also want to keep track of and up to date with any time that we post a new video, you got to ding that notification bell to always know when a new video is up on the channel. And before I go, I just want to say thank you for 284 subs, as the road to 300 is getting a little bit more clearer as we start moving forward. And it is crazy to me how much momentum we have gained on this platform in a very short period of time, and that is all because of you. So thank you. And I will see you in the next one.